Jaguars this evening take on the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm Brian Sexton. You all know Mike Dempsey. And we welcome you into the Publix Tailgate Show, where shopping is a pleasure. Hello, Mike. How are you?
Hey, good, Brian. You know, this is like full circle, not the end of the Jaguar journey, but I mean, you started right here with the Jags, right? And here you are back at the mic introducing the Hall of Fame game for the second time in the franchise history.
I'm thrilled. You can go your whole career, Mike, and not cover one Hall of Fame game because it's randomly chosen every year. To come back here, and you mentioned full circle. We knew when they drafted Tony Boselli he was special. I don't think you can say he's going to be a Hall of Famer, but I think all of us thought he's going to be a Hall of Famer. And we've kind of waited the last few years as he's gone through the process and dealt with the questions of a short career. But here we are now. Kind of we knew all those years ago we might be back for Tony Boselli's enshrinement.
Oh, no doubt, and probably overdue, but, it's funny. We've all done the tour of whether it's Super Bowl at Radio Row or just, at different NFL events, and you talk to guys that played against him, guys that played with him, the best at his position, the best defensive ends that would have to go up against offensive tackles. They all said he was, if not the best, among the very best, and it was only a question of longevity that kept him out this long. And, Brian, I'm hoping it's kind of like a start of a brand new era, just like this kicked off the great late 100%. 90s run, right? I mean, 95 wasn't as good as you wanted it to be, but it was all new. We have a lot of new this year.
Right.
If we could get from 2023 on the kind of stretch we started in 96, we'd all be happy with that.
Before we get to the top stories, which deal with some excitement, Mike, let's 1995, we were just excited to have football, and we knew what it was going to be. But it was an exciting moment. Same thing here. You've got the quarterback. You've got the coach. They've improved the roster. There is a feeling that good times are on the way.
Oh, there's no question. All right. And I think that's the Doug Peterson thing is kind of the icing on the cake. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is a holdover from last year, and we all know the circumstances, the way things played out. I don't think anybody has lost their faith in his talent and his ability to be a franchise elevating piece. I still think he's the most important piece, but now you've got structure, you've got stability, you've got credibility in Doug Peterson and the staff he's put together that you can look at him and say, no matter what he's saying, he's been there, he's done that, and he's been to the NFL mountaintop and led a team to the playoffs multiple times and won the ultimate prize, and that's what we're seeking here.
Big story time. But just on a personal note, I'm looking forward to spending this hour with you all season long, talking about Jaguars football and week to week, getting ready for this football team.
I've had you on my show a number of times over the years. You've had me on some of your shows. And we've never done a show together of any
Let's
kind.
go.
So it's history in the making as we speak.
It'll be fun. Let's start with the big stories. Well, head coach Doug Peterson's been excited about this team, as Mike mentioned, since he arrived on scene in January. 10 days ago, it went from theory to reality when training camp began.
A lot of meetings yesterday, but these guys are they're in the right.
We've touched on it, but Doug was excited about this team because of and then they went through the process of free agency and the draft, and you could just see he knew that he improved the roster. I don't think he's overthinking it, but I think he thinks he's got something to.
I don't think Doug Peterson would have taken this job alone just on Trevor Lawrence if he thought the team would sit on their hands with cap space and wouldn't be aggressive. They were certainly aggressive. Now, we can all debate, did they go after the right guys? That will come out in the wash over the next several seasons. But no question, when they said they had 6 priority free agents, they signed them all or agreed to terms on the very first day that they meant business this year. Now, we'll find out. Is Christian Kirk the guy to lead that wide receiver corps? Is Zay Jones in conjunction with him enough to elevate that group? And on and on and on. But did that, had the number 1 pick, unfortunately, again for the second year in a row. But, early glimpses of Trayvon Walker have, I think, people excited as well.
Absolutely. Let's talk about Josh Allen, who may have been born a professional. Since the day he was drafted, the 4th-year defensive end understood what it meant to be a pro. I know I was there with him that night in Nashville, and I marveled at his maturity. In other words, he knows it when he sees it, and he sees it in Jacksonville.
Man, it feels good to be a part of a professional locker room, not only in the locker room, but when you talk to the coach, the professional setting. You got to hold on to the details. You know what I'm saying? If you're not listening to details, it's not getting on you. It's telling them what's right and what's wrong. And, as guys, as grown men, we need to understand that. And he puts it in a way where we can understand it and grow. He's not getting on us. He's letting us know what's real. And he's talking to us like grown men. And, with that, nothing but respect. We want to grow. We want to be great. And plus, he has the respect in his resume. You know what I'm saying? So we want to be an organization to where we can get to that point one day. You know what I'm saying? If we do things right and we listen, I feel like we can get to that point, and we are.
Pro Bowl his rookie year, injured his second year. Last year, he was the only thing that offenses had to worry about. What do you see in store for Josh Allen?
Well, that's the thing, right? He didn't have help the last 2 years, certainly like he had in his rookie season. And now he's the guy that's got to help as well as get the help. And they feel like, by bringing in Trayvon Walker, by adding Arden Key, bringing back DeJuan Smoot, that they've got enough to at least be better in the pressure department than they've been in recent seasons. But as much as anything, I think if you've improved the offense to where you can actually take some leads deep into the third quarter, into the fourth quarter, and put yourself in obvious pass rushing situations, he's missed that as well. But, Brian, this is going to be one of the most discussed sound bites of the entire offseason. It has been already. For as much what he didn't say as what he did say, we all know what he's talking about. They needed a clean sweep, breath of fresh air, and you can almost hear the reverence in Josh Allen that they finally have a situation that he feels comfortable in, certainly after last year.
Well, he's the first one to point it out when you talk. This is a guy who started with Don Shula and worked with Mike Holmgren and, of course, Andy Reid. So he appreciates what he's dealing with in his fourth NFL season. A young man who we're all excited about is Trevor Lawrence. And, Mike, he left us with a good feeling last January with a strong performance in the season finale against the Colts. He knows that he's the face of the franchise. He understands the expectations, and he's eager to take that next step.
Obviously, like every offense, there's little things that you just learn, and deeper every time you go through something, like little nuances based on certain coverages, certain checks. So it gets to where you install it one way, and these are all your options versus all the different coverages. This is where we see the ball going. Obviously, it's not 100%. It could go somewhere else versus that coverage. But then you get to the point where it all opens up, and it's like, okay, this is also something you could check to if you don't like this look and you see you have a matchup here, and then it goes off of that. And so it's always evolving, and you got to figure out what you like, what your guys do well, and kind of meet in the middle on that. And that's what is cool about camp, working through all those things. And when you see it come together, you have a play and you check it and it works just like you're both thinking. That's the cool part.
So far, he looks really comfortable.
He does. And, last year he showed us maturity beyond his years, the way he handled all the strife and everything. He was a seasoned vet, seemingly, never let anything get to him, but he didn't have the pieces around him. He didn't have the structure around him. He had a lot of dysfunction going on. He needs to play better as well. Let's be clear about that. He's very capable of playing much better. And I think you just look at the coaching staff with Doug Peterson, himself a former quarterback, and surrounding with Trevor with three other former quarterbacks that are immediately working with him. I think that's where we're going to see the dividends come in.
He's got a new offensive coordinator this year, and Press Taylor understands the challenge in front of him. He's expected to help Trevor reach that vast potential, to play better. It's a big job, a wide perspective job, but one he's taking bite by bite, day by day.
Really, the biggest thing is consistent improvement. Every single day we want him to get better. And, that's not always going to show up on a stat sheet if you're stat in practice, but we want the decision-making. Like, day one, there was a, movement play we had. We talked about, hey, when you get out to the edge, you could probably progress it like this. Then day two, kind of it was a different play, similar situation. He did kind of exactly what we talked about in the meeting room. And so that's just good to see. Now, it went from a 20-yard completion to Christian to maybe a 9-yard completion to Chris Manhertz. But for us, he's taking the coaching to the field, and he's getting better. And that's really all we're looking for at this point. We want Trevor to come out here and have the best Wednesday possible. That's all we really care about. Is he better today than he was yesterday?
Press leads a brain trust that Doug Peterson built around his quarterback. Besides, obviously, Doug and Press, he's got Mike McCoy and Jim Bob Cooter, who is a known passing game guru.
Yeah, no question. And, it shows you that Trevor Lawrence just doesn't have the physical attributes. We know he has those things. He can check every box there. But, mentally, the processing, to be able to take what was suggested to him just once and take it immediately out to the practice field, that is a good sign. It's not that simple, right? It doesn't mean that every time it's going to work that easily. But, Press said it's not always going to be about stats. Trevor's had a few of those days, though, where he's been nearly perfect in training camp. But it's nice to hear the development is coming in other areas that aren't so obvious as well.
Now, you mentioned a little while ago, back-to-back years, obviously, the number one overall draft pick, not where you ever want to be again, but to get the guy that they grabbed, Trayvon Walker. I was in Vegas. I talked to Aiden Hutchinson. I looked at him, and I said, yeah, okay. I mean, he just didn't look like the number one overall pick. And then I met Trayvon Walker. I went, okay, now I understand what they were betting on. Here's Mike Caldwell, who the new defensive coordinator is very appreciative of the chance to work with a guy who surprised a lot of observers, but not to people who understand what this guy's capable of.
He's going to go out there and he's going to play a game he's been playing his whole life. Nothing really changes for him. Expectations from the media or us, we might have this expectation, but he has a standard that the type of player he wants to be, and he goes out there and we try to push him every day to be that player. And so when you're working and you're doing your best every day, there's really no expectations. You go out there and do what you've been doing all your life.
You know, I tell people that if you want to understand what this guy looks like, Mike, he looks like a Clydesdale, but he moves like a stallion.
Okay.
He is a big physical specimen. Now, what he does, we're going to find out.
Well, he stood out on the practice field just from that. Like, you went to rookie minicamp, and you're like, one of these things is not like the other, and that would be Trayvon Walker. And we'll see, Brian, he gets to focus on playing one position for the first time in a long time. And I think we'll see some growing pains there, right? I mean, he's a guy with all the athletic ability in the world. He needs to develop a better set of pass rush moves at this point in time, but he's able to, for the most part, focus on those responsibilities of being an outside linebacker. He has the ability to play a number of different spots, and we may even see him mixed in that way, but at least early on in his career, he'll be able to just kind of settle in and focus on one thing.
Cornerback Shaq Griffin was the unofficial spokesman of the defense last year, the guy who showed up after every loss and the wins to talk about the team. He said this week he thinks this defense is much better than it was last year.
When will you know how much better this defense is than last year?
When will I know? Well, I know that now. If you ask me, definitely better than last year. Just the way we've been attacking the ball, one. The way we've been communicating, our communication is so much better. The trust is so much better. And then you see the D-line is running around. It's so many times where even we get into the ball, there's already sacked before the ball even came out. So that shows a lot. And, you know, I feel like one thing about it, our defense is moving a lot faster. Our defense is well-conditioned. Our defense is talking a lot more. Our defense trusts each other a lot more than last year, and that's why we're a better defense than last year.
All right, and those are the big stories before the kickoff to the 2022 NFL preseason here at the Hall of Fame game. Let's pivot quickly. Rookie offensive center Luke Fortner began camp in the starting lineup. And tonight, he'll begin his NFL career right here on this field at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. J.P. Shadrick caught up with him earlier this week, and to say that he's excited about the opportunity tonight, that's an understatement.
Yeah, I'm pumped. Kind of break the ice a little bit, get to represent myself and the Jaguars organization Thursday, so I can't wait. I've been looking forward to this moment for a while now.
A lot of folks have talked about your approach to the mental side of the game out here and how you've picked things up pretty quickly. Not really a big surprise. What has been the most challenging part of training camp so far?
Yeah, I'd say the most challenging part is just being consistent. You come out here every single day and have to, bang your head against each other every single day, and just to be able to be the same person every day and continue being, mentally exceptional and continue to, run the plays as good as we possibly can every single day is probably the most challenging part.
Are there more calls, checks? What different responsibilities do you have now that you might not have had in college?
Yeah, definitely more calls and checks, and just having more knowledge of the whole offense, I think, is the big difference. And thankfully, I've got the guys next to me helping me out and making sure I'm good to go. But I think just the sheer volume of information.
Yeah, take us through that. Luke Fortner is with us. The guys around you, Tyler Shatley's been in this game for 9 years, Brandon Sheriff for 8 years, perennial Pro Bowl player. To have that veteran experience around certainly helps with their strength on the field, certainly, but in all aspects of the NFL, it has to help you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, not only on the field they help me out, but in the locker room and outside the field and outside the facility of how to approach the game and how to be the best player and man I can be, inside the facility and out.
What's the difference, at least so far in training camp against your own team, in strength in the NFL? The guys you're lining up against have been in it for a long time, too. Is that much different? Is that an adjustment for you?
Yeah, I'd say the difference is it's everybody. In college you have here, everyone you go against is strong, everyone you go against is quick and fast. Every rep.
So take us through what else you're trying to prove the next couple weeks out here in training camp. I think there's a couple more weeks out here on this field, and then, of course, the preseason games roll along. What are some goals on your checklist ahead?
Yeah, I think my goals are prove to, not only the coaching staff but my teammates that, I'm a player that has their back and can be out there with them and help them win football games.
Give us an idea of working with Trevor Lawrence, his second year it's everybody's first year in the system, his second year in the league, of course. Seems like a cool calm demeanor, at least when we get to talk to him. What's he like in that room?
Yeah, that doesn't change anywhere. He's always calm, always cool-headed, never flips out, never has any sense of panic. So, and that's what you want in a guy who can instill that calm and confidence in his team.
Have you ever been to the Hall of Fame before in Canton?
No, I have not.
All right, so what are you looking forward to? I know there's a tour coming up. I mean, when did you start watching the NFL? This is a lot of people's dream to get to walk through those hallways.
Yeah, absolutely. I was born in Cleveland, actually. I haven't been to the Hall of Fame, but born in Cleveland. My parents grew up around the Canton area, so I know the area really well. I'm excited to go back and finally get to walk through those halls.
That's Chad Fortner. Up next on the Publix Tailgate Show.
Having a veteran like Foyer and just being able to learn from him and talking through him, every single day about, a certain fit or a certain pass drop or certain technique, I think he's helped me out a lot. And so I think, just being in this whole system of it being new, everyone learning at the same time, that's also kind of helped me.
I caught up with Jaguars rookie linebacker Chad Muma. That's our Baptist Health player interview, plus our weekly visit with CBS Sports senior writer Pete Prisco. The Jaguars and the Raiders coming up at 8 o'clock in the Hall of Fame game. From Canton, Ohio, this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Reconnect with the best version of you at Amara Med Spa, Northeast Florida's premier luxury medical spa, located in Ponte Vedra, Town Center, Avondale, St. Augustine, and Fernandina. With the most advanced injectors, estheticians, and technology, Amara Med Spa is redefining beauty, offering services such as Botox and filler, M-Sculpt Neo, painless laser hair removal, and advanced skincare treatments. Visit theamaramedspa.com and book a complimentary consultation today.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field, because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bono's is currently expanding its brand with franchise opportunities throughout the Southeast and beyond. Over 70 years of authentic Southern pit barbecue and owning your own business are a great combo. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Storm season is here, and JEA is doing everything possible to prepare. We've invested millions in hardening our electric, water, and sewer systems to make them more resistant to extreme weather. By updating your contact information and signing up for alerts, you'll also be better prepared if a storm hits. And in the event we need to restore your power, we can keep you up to date on our efforts and get you back to normal sooner. Update your contact info today at JEA.com. JEA, building a more prepared community.
At most sandwich places, asking for more of something is just part of the drill. But what if you never had to ask for more? What if more was just a given? At Daly's, more is what our sandwiches are built on. More meat, more cheese, more veggies, more quality, more taste. All for a price that's anything but more. Sandwiches from Dash, made fresh. Daly's.
Brooks Rehabilitation is hiring nurses who want to be empowered as advocates, educators, care coordinators, and leaders in exceptional patient care. They have open RN, LPN, HHA, and CNA positions across their inpatient, skilled nursing, and home health care settings. Join their nationally recognized team, where you'll serve as a central team member doing what you do best, providing exceptional patient care. Apply at careers.brooksrehab.org.
Tailgate Show
Publix
continues.
Tailgate Show continues right now.
Brian Sexton sharing a nice summer evening here in Northeast Ohio with Mike Dempsey, almost in Northeast Florida. The Jaguars face the Raiders in the Hall of Fame game here at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton, Ohio. Kickoff team is at 8 o'clock. There's a handful of us who were here 27 years ago, 28 seasons ago. when the Jaguars played the Carolina Panthers in the Hall of Fame game. One of them is a buddy of yours you caught up with CBS Sports Frisco.
Yeah, Pete's seen the the good and the bad over the years, and I think most Jaguar fans know that as a national writer, he actually knows what he's talking about this team, and he agrees, Brian, that right now these are exciting times for the Jaguars organization.
Yeah, it really is, and I'm on my way there after a couple practices with the Bengals and the Colts, and I can't wait. I haven't been back since 1995, actually, when I was the beat guy and they played that first game. So I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing Tony Baselli finally get into the Hall of Fame.
How much different will things be around these parts for the returning players to have a Doug Peterson-led coaching staff with the experienced guys that he's brought in?
Well, the substitute teacher is gone, and the real teacher is back. That's basically what it is. I mean, that was a disaster last year with Urban Meyer in every way, shape, or form, and you get a pro's pro in there now in Doug Peterson. The guy has skins on the wall. He won a Super Bowl. He knows what it takes to be a successful NFL head coach, and I think even being there when I was there last week, you can see the respect that the players have for him, and you can see the way he handles himself with the players. I think it's a great hire, and he's done a nice job with his staff and brought some experienced guys in there as well. So I think it's night and day, Mike, compared to a year ago.
And obviously he has a big hand in shaping this roster as well, working in conjunction with general manager Trent Baalke. Pete, when you look back at free agency and the NFL draft, how do you feel that they've done shaping up the roster for 2022?
Well, Mike, when you have a bad roster and you've had so many bad draft picks over the years, you got to be able to supplement it with some free agency. Now, people around the league, as I go through, they tell me, hey, look, they spent a lot of money, but you have to get some talent on the roster. So on the surface, looks like they overspent on a lot of guys, and maybe they did, but you have to do that sometimes. I think Christian Kirk will be a darn good player, better receiver than people give him credit for. I think that was a good signing. I think getting Scherf to play right guard was a good signing. And defensively, they've added some nice pieces, particularly in the draft. So I think this is a team that's trying to build back a roster that has been depleted by bad drafting. And that's the only way you can do it is to kind of supplement it with some free agents as you try and build it with the draft.
You know how much we love to debate the NFL draft, particularly the last 2 years. The Jaguars have had the number one overall pick. Trevor Lawrence was the obvious selection. Trayvon Walker, not as much so. Pete, what do you think about Walker's selection at number one overall?
I would not have taken him in that spot, I'll be honest with you, but I can understand why they did. When I was there last week and they were standing side by side with Josh Allen. Josh Allen's a big man. That's a big defensive pass rusher. And you look next to him, and there's Trayvon Walker, and he dwarfs him. I mean, he's a giant man. And when you look at that, you say, okay, I get it. And the physical traits are there. He's a big, strong, physical player. But he's got to be more sudden rushing the passer. And that's my concern with him. If he's sudden and can rush the passer, that's going to be a guy who goes to Pro Bowls for a long time. But that's the big question with him right now.
Talking here with Pete Prisco, CBS Sports senior NFL writer. Pete, and we mentioned Trevor Lawrence. I think nothing more important this year than the development he takes and makes from year one to year two. What kind of a leap are you expecting in his play?
Oh, I think there's going to be a big leap, Mike. Just the day I was there, it was as crisp as it's been at any point when I've watched him, and that includes games. He was confident. He was accurate. The timing was good. He understood what he was doing. I mean, there was a route where he had a guy clear out a year ago. He would have probably tried to throw to the clear-out guy, and then he hit a guy coming back underneath that. That was the patience. That's knowing where to go with the football. That's, I think, the Doug Peterson effect. And I made this prediction on our CBS Sports HQ. I think he's going to throw 32 touchdown passes and over 4,000 yards. I think this is a big step forward for Trevor Lawrence.
Well, that's a massive step forward in the touchdown department, to be sure, going from 12 to 32. We'll all take that, I think, Pete. And a big part of that offense is going to be finding Travis Etienne, his former college teammate, who has had a banner training camp so far. I know we're only getting to the first preseason game, but he's getting rave reviews on an almost daily basis so far. If he is able to remain healthy, how big of a weapon will he be for this team?
Well, and in talking to him last week, one of the things I said, you look like you're thicker in your lower body, because he wasn't a big guy coming out of Clemson. He says he's at 208, which means he hasn't put on weight, but he's gotten good weight on, and he's stronger. His legs are stronger. And, I said, he mentioned Deebo Samuel early in the summer. I said, that's not who you are. You're Alvin Kamara. And he said, well, I want to do more routes, different routes than what Kamara does. So I think they're going to use him a variety of ways, and I think that speed is something that offense lacked in a big way. So he's going to be a big part of what they do. He should be. I think he can run between the tackles well, too, but he's got to prove it to people.
All right. It made it easy to run behind the Jaguars offensive line in the 90s when Tony Baselli was lining up at left tackle, the first ever draft pick for the Jacksonville Jaguar organization, Pete, and we finally get to see the coronation of his career with his induction into the Pro Football Hall of Fame coming up this Saturday. You've worked directly with Tony. I know you guys, kid each other a lot on the radio and things like that, but what does this mean to you? What should this mean to the Jaguar organization and the fan base to have the first ever Jaguar enshrined in Canton?
Oh, it's a big moment for the organization. I mean, the franchise is one of those franchises that never gets the respect it deserves. It's kind of like one of those teams around the league that people snicker out and laugh at. And so to get Tony finally into the Hall is a great thing. And it's been a long process. I mean, it's one of those things where you go corner the voters and say, hey, look, this is why you got to put him in, and this is why. And you think he's going to get in one year and he doesn't. Then the next year you think he's going to get in and he doesn't. And he's disappointed. So finally to see it happen is, it's great for Tony. Look, his head's going to get bigger than it is, if you can believe that. But that'll happen. But I think it's great for the organization. I can't wait to watch it. I'm excited to see it, and I'm glad I'm going to be a part of it.
That's Pete Prisco. Those two guys used to battle in the locker room. Pete is not tall, and Tony is.
Yes.
They're both Italian, and they would fight. And yet it was Pete who went to fight, to bat for Tony with a lot of the writers and the voters around the league that didn't know him and his body of work as well as Pete.
Look, I think he had the respect of the players. He annoyed them sometimes, but he was a straight shooter, right? He didn't
100%.
pull his punches. And that, players will tell you that from the coaching staff as well. I could take bad news if you tell it to me straight. He'd always shot you straight, and he continues to do that. And I think he and Tony, if they'll admit it, are great friends these days.
They are. And you can hear the full conversation Mike had with Pete at Jaguars.com and the official Jaguars podcast network. Jaguar season's right around the corner. There's no better time to lock in your seats for 2022. Unsure where to seat? Join the Jaguars at TIAA Bank Field this Saturday, August 6th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and test out available inventory in person. Plus, you can watch Tony's enshrinement live on the video board. RSVP today at jaguars.com/myseat. Back to the young guys, the rookies, and the Jaguars linebackers room is full of them. Of course, through that overhaul in the offseason, Miles Jack is gone. And, of course, they added Foyer Lewis in free agency, drafted Devin Lloyd, and brought in Chad. Our player interviews presented by Baptist Health and the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute, the official sports medicine provider of the Jaguars. Rookie linebacker Chad Muma is excited to take the field this evening for his first NFL action, even though it seems he just took the field for real over a week ago.
No, I'm super excited. This is something that I've definitely been dreaming about since I was a little kid. And so being thrown into it right away and getting that, extra preseason game, I think that's going to help me out tremendously.
How has the transition been for a guy who grew up in Denver and played at Wyoming to the heat of Florida? Because it's a little more intense.
It's definitely intense. Going through training camp first few days, I'm feeling that heat. And I think today was one of the better days where I'm kind of feeling a little bit better going into the game. But the heat is something that I've never had. I've always had dry heat, never, the humidity. And so that's a little bit switch up, but it's not too bad. Just got to get used to it.
What would you say the biggest part of being a pro is after a couple of years in college? What's the part you like the most about it, besides the payday?
Yeah, I think, the biggest part of being a pro is once you make a mistake, you got to correct it right then and there. And, maybe you're not getting all the reps out there, but you just got to be locked in for when you do have the opportunity and just take off of, maybe someone else's mistake or someone else does something great. You have to take that and put it into your own game.
How long did it take you to realize that this was the best situation for you? A new defense, Mike Caldwell, a former linebacker, plugging you in with guys like Foyer and Devin Lloyd. I mean, this certainly seems to be tailor-made for you.
I definitely think so. I think, with having a veteran like Foyer and just being able to learn from him and talking through him, every single day about, a certain fit or a certain pass drop or certain technique, I think he's helped me out a lot. And so I think, just being in this whole system of it being new, everyone learning at the same time, that's also kind of helped me.
Give me a sense of what Tony Gilbert is like. He's probably bragging about playing at Georgia, a national championship. I've known Tony since he was a player here. He was I don't want to say laid back, because he had the intensity on the field, but he has this interesting way of presenting challenges to guys, doesn't he?
He definitely does. And I'd say he's kind of the same way as a coach. He's not, I would say he's laid back, but at the same time, he's coaching us, he's getting after us, and he's making sure that we understand everything that we're doing. I think that's the biggest thing with him.
What do you want to get done tonight? When you leave the field, however long you play, what do you want to be able to say and see on the tape?
I just want to show, my abilities on that tape and just show that I know what I'm doing out there and I'm able to fly around and make plays myself.
Do you realize that Jacksonville has a little history with Wyoming? You know who Ryan Christopherson was?
I'm not too familiar.
A fullback. fifth-round draft choice. Obviously, we've had some guys through here. You know Dewey.
Yeah.
Wyoming has started to put some guys in the NFL. How does Josh Allen, how does a guy like that open the door for a lot of Wyoming Cowboys?
Yeah, I think he was getting, he was projected a high quarterback in the early first round as I was getting recruited. And so I think, having that ability of seeing that, guys that go to Wyoming have the opportunity to go play in the NFL, and that Coach Bull up there has a great program where he's able to prepare guys for the NFL, like guys like Dewey and, Logan Wilson, having all that before I even got there. That's definitely just something that makes you want to go there.
Is your family getting to enjoy this with you? Have you had enough time for everybody to be like, yeah, Chad's playing in the NFL?
Yeah, no, definitely. I sent all my family some jerseys the other day, and so my parents can be out for this game, and I think everyone's kind of enjoying that aspect a little bit, and I think they're going to be super excited once the season kind of starts rolling.
And this is your first year. It's Doug Peterson's first year. For a franchise that's only had one winning season in the last 15, there is a lot of energy and enthusiasm about that. Do you feel that? Do you see that?
I definitely see it. It's hard to talk because I haven't been here in the past, but just the energy and what you guys talk about their previous years here and how it's different this year, I definitely see that with everyone. And I definitely feel the energy, and everyone's working, and everyone's, trying to be the best that they can with this, everyone that's here now.
Based at least on what we've seen from him on the practice field in the first week of camp. Coming up on the Publix Tailgate Show in about 15 minutes, Jeff Lageman joins us here in the booth. But up next,
that Indianapolis game, week 18, game 17, was this guy can do this. Okay? That Colts team had everything to play for and was a good team. And Trevor played well.
NBC Sports play-by-play announcer Mike Tirico shares thoughts on Trevor Lawrence's rookie season and going into his second year, plus much more as he sat down with J.P. Shadrick. The Jaguars and Raiders kick off the preseason at 8 o'clock in the Hall of Fame game here in Canton, Ohio. This is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field, because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bono's is currently expanding its brand with franchise opportunities throughout the Southeast and beyond. Over 70 years of authentic Southern pit barbecue and owning your own business are a great combo. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
With the first pick in the 2022 draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Duck Duck Rooter, the best plumbing and septic company in Florida.
Congratulations, Duck Duck Rooter. So tell us, how does it feel to be picked number one?
Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services is excited to announce we're a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When you need help tackling any type of plumbing or septic issue, call our team of first-round draft picks for the win. DuckDuckRooter.com. That's DuckDuckRooter.com.
Reconnect with the best version of you at Amara Med Spa, Northeast Florida's premier luxury medical spa, located in Ponte Vedra, Town Center, Avondale, St. Augustine, and Fernandina. With the most advanced injectors, estheticians, and technology, Amara Med Spa is redefining beauty, offering services such as Botox and filler, M-Sculpt Neo, painless laser hair removal, and advanced skincare treatments. Visit theamaramedspa.com and book a complimentary consultation today.
At most sandwich places, asking for more of something is just part of the drill. But what if you never had to ask for more? What if more was just a given? At Daly's, more is what our sandwiches are built on. More meat, more cheese, more veggies, more quality, more taste. All for a price that's anything but more. Sandwiches from Dash, made fresh. Daly's.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain?
If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
Welcome back. Jaguars Game Day Radio brought to you by VyStar Credit Union. Do good. Bank better. The Publix Tailgate Show continues from Canton, Ohio at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. The Jaguars and Raiders set for an 8 o'clock kickoff in the Hall of Fame game. I'm Brian Sexton with Mike Dempsey. And time now for our weekly commentary from 1010XL's Rick Ballou.
Ah, yes. Canton, Ohio. Where else would into the Hall of Fame coming up on Saturday. But why Canton? I mean, come on, New York, L.A., Jacksonville. I mean, anywhere but Canton, right? Well, you look at the history where football began. That's what they'll tell you right here. The American Professional Football Association back in the 1920s. They had such stars as Jim Thorpe, and they won a bunch of championships with the Canton Bulldogs. And then they went on to form the NFL. Also, a lot of credit here to the people. They fought for the right. The citizens early in the 1960s campaigned to have the Hall of Fame right here where they believe football all began, Canton, Ohio. Tony Boselli goes in on Saturday. Way too long of a wait. Thrilled to death for Tony, just like you are. It's going to be an incredible day. I was lucky enough to host the Tony Boselli Show back on the ball in 1997 and in 1998. Love watching Tony play professionally. He was the best tackle of his era, period. Yeah, it was a little bit short-lived, but he was a gamer. And what a party it is going to be. I've also enjoyed the relationship with Tony throughout the years, and I've really enjoyed working with him, and he certainly is a pro's pro. All right, let's get to tonight's game. The starters aren't going to play. We know that. I think the roster, for the most part, is set. I really do. There's not a lot of positions that, in my opinion, are up for grabs. So that's what's going to make tonight's game even more intriguing. The one spot I'm looking at is the bottom half of the cornerback position. All right, we know who the top four is, and then all of a sudden it's 2 draft picks. Right now, in my opinion, Buster Brown is absolutely outplayed Gregory Jr. You look at undrafted free agent Benji Franklin. He's had a very good camp so far. You got guys like Chris Claybrooks, who just seems to keep hanging around. He's got that phenomenal speed. Then you look at Xavier Crawford, came over from Chicago with passing game coordinator Deshae Townsend. I think he's got to have a good game tonight, got to have a good camp if he's going to be able to grab a roster spot. It's going to be interesting as well because there's only been 2 padded practices, Sunday and Monday. All of a sudden you have a game. The camp has been really interesting, okay? Such a professional feel, literally night and day from what we did see one season ago, and that is certainly good news. The only other position that I would say needs some work, too many drops at wide receiver, but those starters won't go tonight, so we're going to have to wait at least one other week. Should be a lot of fun. Watch some guys try to make the bottom of the roster. It all begins tonight, the Jaguars and Raiders.
Thanks, Rick. Mike, great segue there. We're not going to see a lot of guys tonight. And the guys that we do see, on the defensive side in particular, we're only going to get a little bit of. This is a preseason game designed for the bottom of the roster.
Sure. It's an evaluation game. And I do agree that with Rick that cornerback is one of the more interesting position groups, but I think there are others. I think the down linemen on defense, they're going to be good players that don't make this football team.
There's a lot of names in that group.
I think they have some quality guys there, and more depth than they've had in recent years. I don't think that all 6 wide receiver positions are set in stone. I think we can, probably all agree on where they would lean. If they had to decide right now, they don't have to decide right now. And maybe a guy like Luwan Winningham, who's had a good camp, can take an opportunity like this to kind of go out there and shine, Brian. I mean, look, you're a vet. You don't want anything to do with this game on the field, right? You want to come for the atmosphere, all that. That's wonderful. For guys like Winningham and, Benji Franklin and some of these other guys we're talking about here, this is an opportunity moment for them to make this football team.
And just a point of interest for folks who will be watching this ball game, watch them on special teams. People don't normally watch them on special teams. These guys are not going to make it with an interception or a touchdown catch tonight, but if they play well in coverage, they might. All right, 25 years at ESPN. Mike Tirico is now in his 7th year at NBC, and it's the first season he'll be the lead play-by-play announcer on NBC Sports Sunday Night Football. He has tonight's game, and earlier this week caught up with J.P. Shadrick. He's eager to move to Sunday Night Football right at the top of a career filled with highlights, including the Olympics.
It really is, right there with the Olympics. I mean, primetime host of the Olympics is a job that you don't even dream about, and same true with this. I've always loved primetime NFL. To be a part of Monday night for those 10 years that you mentioned was one of the highlights of my career, and my assumption is this will be right there with it too. To do these two premier primetime packages, the Monday night and now the Sunday night package, do one on cable, and then this one here on broadcast is, for any of us who do the NFL, is a treat. You can talk about the ratings, certain windows and all that stuff, but the Sunday Night Football is the way everybody ends that great day of football, 18 weeks a year now. To have that after everybody watches their early games, the pregame shows in the morning, that big 4:25 Eastern game, and then just settles in for Sunday night before the slog of a week begins. It's going to be great.
Simple question, but a deep answer, I'm sure. After last season's situation with the Jaguars, what is the perception of the Jaguars organization nationally?
Well, you need to get it right. It was a swing. It was a swing for the fences, and it was a strikeout. Let's just be honest, right? Things just didn't work with Urban. And here's the good news. It was only 1 year for Trevor. You didn't ruin or lose a guy. Now Trevor seems to have a great fit with Doug Peterson, personality, a quarterback, a guy who has won a Super Bowl, has developed young quarterbacks along the way, really has a sense of what it takes. And there's a professional approach to it. So you're not going to have those mistakes and those highs and lows that the team went through last year. So if it was a 2 or 3 year thing that ran it right into the ground, that would be one thing. It wasn't. And there's a lot of talent on this roster. So, there's somebody who has gotten the most out of professional players here. And I think you're going to see that. So I think the good news, the perception is probably better than the record has been over the last couple of years. And the reality is when you start to look at this team, when you do an exam, you go, you know what? Those 3 receivers are okay. That's a pretty darn good tight end room. There are a lot of teams that would take Robinson, ETN, let's say Snoop Connor develops as a running back. That's pretty good. I like your left tackle. I like what you're doing, throwing the right guard in there at a big price for one of the veterans with Brandon Sheriff. Obviously, on the defensive side of the ball, you've used the number 1 pick to bring in a guy to go opposite your other first-round guy who's been here for 4 years. It's a good place to start. So I think overall, this is a team that probably nationally has a better feel in hopes of a positive couple of years ahead than last year's story wrote out to be.
Mike Tirico with us. You say all those names, but it all comes back to number 16, quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, obviously. His rookie experience was not what you wanted, obviously, with everything going on around it. But it seemed like he handled it with class and poise and went through some learning periods on the field, was healthy, played all 17 games. He has that in his back pocket now as he moves ahead. That's a good start.
And for me, that Indianapolis game, week 18, game 17, was this guy can do this. Okay? That Colt team had everything to play for and was a good team. And Trevor played well. And I did, so Doug Flutie and I did a corporate event right around the BCS or the CFP championship game. And Trevor was our guest. So we did a Zoom call for some clients, and it was me, Flutie, and we had Trevor for a half hour. So I talked to Trevor beforehand that afternoon for a little bit, and you could tell that he was beat up. It was a tough year. You could tell how satisfied he was to see it through and come away at the end with a big win. And to me, that told me this guy, given the right coach, we didn't know it was going to be Doug at the time, he could be ready. So I think you're going to see a good couple of years out of him here. And here's what they did. We've got what everybody's trying to get, a franchise quarterback. And we feel like he has the ability to do it. Now let's surround him. And the additions on this team, that's a lot of money to spend in guaranteed signing bonus money, but they are to surround the investment.
The Jaguars are in the Hall of Fame game because Tony Boselli was elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. What stands out to you about Boselli? Is there a moment? Is there an interaction with him? I have plenty of those, but what about you, Mike?
Well, I mean, look, the headlines are from SC onto Jacksonville, just Baselli's on the field left tackle, and you knew that was pretty much taken care of, right? What a true definition of a Hall of Famer. Think about in this sport, it's the one sport where the guys go into the Hall of Fame who don't touch the ball or score for the most part. Now, sure, you can say, okay, goalies in hockey are pitchers. Pitchers in baseball are touching every time. Goalies in hockey are making saves. But you've got to really stand out amongst the people at your position to be recognized as an offensive lineman in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And Tony Baselli stood out year after year after year for his quality of play and the quality of individual. He represented that franchise really well. If you think of a Jaguar, I think in the early days with Coach Coughlin and building that thing, Brunell and Baselli and the running backs and all the stuff, the receivers. But Baselli was that standard, and he was terrific. So Tony obviously does the radio there, but he also has done national radio over the years. And I've worked with, God, I don't know, in all my sports, maybe 120 analysts of different ilk. And Baselli is one of them. We did one game together, but we did a hell of a game together. We did Tom Brady's last game in Foxborough, the playoff game that they lost. And it was a foggy night, and it was Westwood won. Tony was in the booth with me. The game ended, and it was just like a foggy night, and the place empty, and we're just sitting there, and we didn't know it was Brady's last game, but we kind of felt it. And Logan Ryan made the pick at the end of the game to kind of close it out, his former teammate. And we're just looking at each other like, we could have just seen the last game for Tom Brady. And the stadium had this eerie feeling. I'll never forget sitting there with Tony and just kind of sharing that moment that we got a chance to see one of the great players of all time and the greatest run anybody's had with one team. And, man, I love him on the air. We had fun doing the broadcast. It was fun to do it together. It's exactly the way you picture doing a game with a Hall of Fame offensive lineman. He took up most of the booth. He dominated the whole thing. He was kind of rough around the edges and gruff, but like the most dang lovable and dependable guy. Couldn't be happier for Tony and his family. And couldn't be happier for Duval County and all the Jaguars fans, because it's been a tough couple of years after Doug Marrone had that thing shockingly within a drive or two of the Super Bowl, which isn't all that long ago. To see this franchise just start kind of a new era with a celebratory day is good for the good people of Jacksonville, and I couldn't be happier for Tony, and thrilled to be here to see him go in the Hall of Fame on Saturday.
Available on Jaguars.com. Click the podcast tab at the top of the homepage or the official Jaguars Podcast Network. PRI Productions is the official event production company of these Jaguars, and they have everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com. Coming up at the top of the hour, JP Shadrick slides into the seat, but next, Jaguars analyst Jeff Loggeman joins Mike and I here in the booth. The Jaguars and Raiders kick off at 8 o'clock in the Hall of Fame game. And from Canton, Ohio, this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Maximize the beauty of your home with custom-made windows and patio doors from Renewal by Andersen. Right now, buy 4 windows or patio doors and get the 5th free. Plus, no money down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. Visit rbafla.com for details. Offer expires August 31st. Restrictions apply. Renewal by Andersen, the official window and door replacement company of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CGC 1527613.
Storm season is here, and JEA is doing everything possible to prepare. We've invested millions in hardening our electric, water, and sewer systems to make them more resistant to extreme weather. By updating your contact information and signing up for alerts, you'll also be better prepared if a storm hits. And in the event we need to restore your power, we can keep you up to date on our efforts and get you back to normal sooner. Update your contact info today at JEA.com. JEA, building a more prepared community.
Since 1916, Duval Motor Company is here to keep you and your vehicle off the sidelines. Their all-star lineup of dealerships provides superior sales, maintenance, and repairs for every make and model with Ford, Honda, Acura, Subaru, Chevrolet, and everything in between. At every Duval location across North Florida, Duval Motor Company always puts service first. In-store, online, or at your front door. Get service first with DuvalMotorCompany.com.
Jags fans, Shaquille Griffin of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I know you love when we put the QB in his place with a big interception, and now Luray Boyd Peanut Company is making every pick a winning play with the Peanut Pickoff. Every time the Jaguars make a pick, Luray Peanuts is going to donate to youth football initiatives throughout the Southeast, and the Jaguars Foundation will match every dollar. We get one play closer to victory, and our kids get to train for a brighter future. Everyone wins, except for the other team's QB. But hey, that's his problem.
We've spent a lot of time in our homes.
I'm on a Zoom call.
Dinner's ready.
But we've learned that when we love our home, it loves us right back. Now you can keep that love going when you install energy-efficient natural gas appliances and earn up to $1,925 in cash rebates. You'll love endless hot water, faster drying and cooking times, and ongoing savings and comfort. To learn more and how to qualify, visit peoplesgas.com/rebates.
Welcome back to the Publix Tailgate Show. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Brian Sexton and Mike Dempsey from Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium here in Canton, Ohio. Kickoff comes your way 8 o'clock, and the Jaguars face the Las Vegas Raiders. Time now for the first rounds on us.
Trying to change the music for Baselli, huh?
No booing anymore. Everything's all happy.
Good afternoon, boys.
Nice to see
Hello.
you.
Yeah,
Tony,
nice to see you guys in person.
Tony's not here. No surprise.
No.
I don't think you'll see much of him.
No, he's busy.
Yeah, he's a lot busy. There's no doubt about it. But we're thrilled to have you. They got into camp a week ago Monday. They've practiced 8 times, twice, I think, in full pads. So it's really no surprise that not a lot of guys are going tonight. So what do you try to get done if you're Doug Peterson? What do you want to see?
Well, I mean, I think that's a great question. And really, you've got a pretty good idea, I think, if you're the head coach, about what you have as far as your guys. You've got a lot of film on them. A lot of your young guys are going to be playing tonight, including your first overall pick, Trayvon Walker. So you want to get a glimpse and maybe a little peek into what they can do. You're not going to watch them for long, but you want to see him for a little while. You know, Walker Little is a guy that's in a position battle. He's going to be playing right tackle tonight, so you want to get a good look at him. I mean, there's some guys that you want to know more about, and there's guys you know enough about.
Now, are there some of the young guys that you don't know a whole lot about? Like Trayvon Walker, we haven't seen play in the league, Jeff, but is tonight as much about him getting his feet wet, just get the first experience of running out on a National Football League, I'm using the air quotes, field, and just kind of break the seal a little
Get the
bit.
butterflies out, you know, and I think that's going to be a big part of it for him. I mean, I don't know exactly, but, I mean, there's some guys that are going to play tonight and dress, and maybe they play 5, 6, 7 plays. I would probably guess that he's in that category. But, yeah, I mean, all these guys that are kind of in that role tonight, let them get their feet wet. You know, a lot of the rookies are going to be doing something like that. Some guys are probably going to play longer than more. But Trayvon, I'm excited to see. I mean, heck, here's a guy that's really kind of making a position change just because he never really was a pure stand-up outside linebacker guy at the University of Georgia, and here he is going to be in a 2-point stance. And he's big, he's strong, he's athletic. Well, I want to see it. You know, I want to see it against a guy on the other side that's trying to kick his rear end, okay, and kick it good. Because that's what the Raiders guys, even though that's probably going to be a backup guy.
Yeah, right.
You know, but it's just good. It's football's back, and it's kind of an eerie feeling this year. And Brian, I know you were here in 1995, and you probably remember a lot of the moments from 1995.
Oh, yeah. Desmond Howard's long touchdown really stands out.
And then one of the things that I get the feeling of this year is that it's eerily similar to 1995 this year.
In terms of looking forward, you're looking through this game to what's possible?
Well,
because we were doing that in 95.
Well, and the reason I say that, in 1995, we played in this very same game against the Carolina Panthers, the other expansion team that was that year, 1995. But there was so much going on with the Jaguars team at that time. We were practicing at Bishop Kenny, I believe it was, the high school across the river.
Right.
We were having a bus to go over there. We had a lot of newness. We had construction going on at the stadium.
Stadium wasn't finished.
Hurley trying to get it done, in time for the opener.
Well, and you left here and went back to Stevens Point, Wisconsin for another couple of weeks.
Thanks for that bad reminder.
Yeah, well, and you'd already been there for 30 days.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just, if there was ever a year that the Jaguars franchise needed a little bit of a refresher or rebirth, I mean, this is the year after years of struggling. And especially after last year, that you got to sit there and want to bang your head against the wall last year and just please end the year.
Hey, I got about 20 seconds. Who's your guy? Every year you have a guy. I mean, I go back to Montel Owens. You picked him out. You said, watch this guy. Who should folks
For this
watch
game?
tonight? Yeah, you got 10 seconds.
All right, number 55. Okay, he's an undrafted linebacker from Arkansas. Okay, keep an eye on him. I like him.
All right, folks.
Number
you heard it right
55. I'm going to make sure I got his name right. Grant Morgan.
Grant Morgan.
A game like this where a lot of backups are going to be playing and the backs are going to be playing a lot. Grant Morgan, 55.
Right, watch Grant Morgan. Jeff, thanks so much. Mike, I enjoyed the hour.
Loved it.
Talk
Good
to you
work
next
today.
week.
Bye.
Time now for UF Health Finding Solutions. UF Health, delivering compassionate care to point out world-class outcomes. That's our game plan. And, of course, the solution is the young guy that Jeff mentioned. Up next, the second hour of the Publix Tailgate Show. JP Shadrick takes over. Top stories of the day, inside linebackers coach Tony Gilbert, Jaguars' new radio field analyst Bucky Brooks, and much more ahead. 2 hours remain before kickoff of the Hall of Fame game between the Jaguars and the Raiders. And from Canton, Ohio, this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
With the first pick in the 2022 draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Duck Duck Rooter, the best plumbing and septic company in Florida.
Congratulations, Duck Duck Rooter. So tell us, how does it feel to be picked number one?
Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services is excited to announce we're a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When you need help tackling any type of plumbing or septic issue, call our team of first-round draft picks for the win. DuckDuckRooter.com. That's DuckDuckRooter.com.
The Dick's Wings and Grill family of restaurants is a proud sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars. They invite you to stop into one of their area neighborhood grills where you can count on fresh quality wings where you call the flavor. At Dick's Wings and Grill, their menu has a food and flavor for everyone in your group. If you prefer delivery or online ordering, just visit DicksWingsandGrill.com. Every Dick's Wings and Grill is locally owned and operated. Dick's Wings and Grill, winging it since 1994.
Storm season is here, and JEA is doing everything possible to prepare. We've invested millions in hardening our electric, water, and sewer systems to make them more resistant to extreme weather. By updating your contact information and signing up for alerts, you'll also be better prepared if a storm hits. And in the event we need to restore your power, we can keep you up to date on our efforts and get you back to normal sooner. Update your contact info today at JEA.com. JEA, building a more prepared community.
Jags fans, this is Shaquille Griffin. I'm going to share some of my secrets for competing in the NFL. First, the field is no place for hunger. Growing up, I got big and strong eating boiled peanuts. Today, our team is serious about fueling our bodies, and that means popping open some protein-packed peanuts from Luray's Peanuts. It's the same boiled peanut flavor I used to love eating as a kid, but with superfood nutrition that lets me tear it up on the field. Pick Luray's boiled peanuts at all Jaguar home games, or pick up a few bags at the grocery store and fuel up at home.
Brooks Rehabilitation has more than 50 years of experience serving the North Florida community with cutting-edge rehabilitation care, ranging from joint replacements, sports injuries, and balance issues to traumatic brain injuries, spinal cord injuries, and strokes. Their highly trained clinical teams span across their system of care to include inpatient, outpatient, skilled nursing, assisted living and memory care, home health, and adaptive community programs. Learn more at brooksrehab.org. Brooks is proud to be the rehabilitation provider for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The Publix Tailgate Show is brought to you by Baptist Health, Farah and Farah, and by TIAA Bank. Here are Mike Dempsey and JP Shadrick.
It is hour 2 of the Publix Tailgate Show. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. 2 hours away from the Hall of Fame game and the start of the NFL preseason as the Jacksonville Jaguars meet the Las Vegas Raiders. JP Shadrick with Mike Dempsey from Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton, Ohio. It's an 8:10 official kickoff time. For a moment, celebrate the start of a new era of Jaguars football with a little celebration of the past, Mike. And hey, here we
Good
are.
to see you, my
nice
man.
to see you, friend. How are you?
I'm excellent now that we're back together. And look, great working with Brian, and I've enjoyed working with you over the many years, so let's keep it rolling.
Let's do it, indeed. This is obviously a fantastic week ahead for Tony Boselli and the Jaguars organization. The enshrinement, of course, is Saturday. The Gold Jacket dinner is tomorrow night. There are a number of different events that Tony has to go through. We're going to hear from him a little bit later in Countdown to Kickoff tonight. But tonight's game is about the future of Jaguars football. At least you're going to see some of the younger guys on the roster, it feels like, tonight.
Yeah, no doubt. And, we talked about it a little bit with Jeff Blog. I mean, there are some eerie similarities to 1995. It feels like this organization can use a reset over the recent years, the way things have gone. How many times can we keep pointing to, well, at least we had 2017. It gets further and further in the rearview mirror. I think a lot of the pieces are in place for this organization to get turned around in the right direction. JP, we're not going to see all those pieces in action tonight, but we will see the head coach walking the sidelines. It brings instant credibility with him as a Super Bowl champion, a guy who's led the Philadelphia Eagles to 3 playoff appearances in his time in the National Football League. And based on everything you hear in terms of feedback from his key players, has brought an air of credibility and respect and belief that this is the guy that can lead us where we want to go.
Jaguars Game Day Radio is brought to you by ViStar Credit Union. Do good, bank better. And here are some of today's top stories. It has been a solid camp so far for second-year quarterback Trevor Lawrence. What excites him the most about this offense so far?
Too deep at pretty much every position. So you see that we got a few more young guys too this year that we can bring along, and we brought in some older guys to just help boost this offense. And I mean, we look good. We're really explosive. We're making plays, and like we talked about, guys just are knowing their assignments, knowing their adjustments. I feel like it's been really clean for the first week of camp. Usually you're having a lot more things to teach off of, and we still have plenty, but I'd say just the little things, the feel of the game, feeling zones on certain routes, all those things, the guys are doing a great job. So just trying to keep adding to that.
First week of camp, there's no pads. They've only had truly 2 full padded practices, so it's going to look pretty good so far, right?
Oh, sure. It better look pretty good, right? In 7-on-7s, 11-on-11s when nobody's hitting anybody. But Trevor Lawrence rose to that occasion, and by many accounts had best practice, maybe one of the best days throwing the football since he's been a Jaguar, but that bar is awfully low, JP, honestly. I mean, we're going to need to get beyond, feeling good about a couple of training camp practices. There's nothing more important. I don't know if collectively every other storyline for the Jaguars adds up to being as important as the development of Trevor Lawrence. Either he is going to be the franchise-defining quarterback that they believe they selected last year, and I still believe that is what he's going to be, or he's not, and that is the most important thing to find out this year, the years to come. But I think myself, you, everybody expects that big leap to come in 2022.
Though some starters will not see the field tonight, offensive coordinator Press Taylor still has some things he'd like to see out of tonight's game.
We're still getting into the conversations, who's going to play, how much everybody's going to play, what we want to do from that standpoint, and then kind of like we talked about the other day, we kind of have our list of questions we want. We want to see how these guys do in certain situations. So you're kind of walking the fine line of, obviously we want to give our guys enough chances to make plays and do things well, but maybe there's some things you want to see this guy in this situation. Can he do it against somebody he doesn't know? Things like that. So you're kind of massaging every little situation you can to get as many answers as you can on all these guys, as well as give them the best chance to play well.
Also, we'll see Jake Luton tonight. He'll get the start at quarterback for the Jaguars. He's done it before for this team in the regular season. So far, so good in training camp in the quarterback room, according to Luton.
I just want to go out there and execute. I think this camp we've done a lot of good things, and we'll go out there and put our best foot forward. I just want to move the ball around, get the ball in my guys' hands, and just help the offense, be in the best position we can to execute, go out and score points, and I think that's the bottom line, is just execution.
I would expect maybe the frontline receivers might not go in tonight's game, so you're going to see a lot of those depth guys at the receiver positions, maybe at tight end as well, and a young quarterback to go with it tonight.
Yeah, look, you can put good throws on film regardless, and Jake Luton's trying to make this football team. He's not just doing it to put it out there on his resume. I think personally, for me, with TJ Beathard being slowed, I know they like Beathard and he's been there, done that. I think Jake Luton has a lot of natural ability, and I think that he has a chance to push for at least making them comfortable that even if he doesn't immediately open the season as the backup, he could be a guy, if circumstances arise, that you'd be comfortable with him being a heartbeat away from being the starting quarterback. Nobody wants to see any backup quarterback play a meaningful snap for this team unless it's kneel down at the end of the game. But, Luton's had a good camp, and let's hope he continues that tonight.
Plenty of new on the Jaguars' offensive line so far in training camp. Perennial Pro Bowl right guard Brandon Sheriff comes in from Washington, but he has some young guys around him as well. Rookie center Luke Fortner and second-year right tackle Walker Little. Sheriff explained how he helps those players come along.
During certain looks, I'll just give them tips on what I see, and, I'm trying to be for them what, like, Trent Williams, Corey Lincolnshire, Morgan Moses, all those guys were for me. So anything I can do to help the game slow down for them and, obviously play as one, all five of us play as one, make sure we all know what we're doing on the same page, we'll be all right.
Well, Sheriff, I think, is a massive addition for this team in the offseason, a guy who has done it at a very high level, has gone to Pro Bowls, an all-pro type player. He can kind of set the foundation of that offensive line.
He's easily the most accomplished player on this roster, not even close. And, I was out there on Sunday at Episcopal watching some of the one-on-one drills, defensive line versus offensive line. And, the defensive line would get their share, offensive line would get their share. And then I had to check, make sure, oh, yeah, that's Sheriff, because nobody was getting by that guy, right? Like, now, that sometimes can speak to you get fooled because you're only going up against your own teammates. But he looked the part of the guy that was easy to pick out as the best lineman on the field.
On to the defense now. Trayvon Walker, the number 1 overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. He's been under the wing of fourth-year outside linebacker Josh Allen already in this offseason, and they visited with one of the greats in the pass-rushing game this past offseason, Robert Mathis of the Indianapolis Colts. Walker explained what he got out of that visit.
I learned a lot from him. He just taught me one of the main things that he told me, just be patient. Like, everything will come once I start to realize the small things within my moves. Everything will start to tie together from there. So like I say, I was always trying to work on my hand and eye coordination. It all starts with my get off. If I'm getting off the ball, then the offensive lineman is going to have to commit to me in some type of way. So I just let my fluidity and my speed work for itself.
So Josh Allen is a large athletic guy. And then you see Trayvon Walker walk, if you will, right next to him, and you realize, okay, that's a little bit different. Trayvon's a big physical player that can move, and looking forward to seeing him in some action tonight.
Oh, I hope we get to see him a little bit of action tonight. Get him in, have some success, get him out. But I'll say this, he talked about his moves, JP. The NFL is full of big physical players, right? Yes. Everybody in the NFL was a great player at their level of football, maybe not as good as Trayvon Walker, but he talked there kind of being a reactionary pass rusher, right? Like, I'm going to have a good get off, you're going to commit, and then I'm going to counter off of that. Sometimes that guy is going to be savvy. He's not always going to commit. He's not always going to give you an opening. So I think that's one thing we've got to watch with the development of Trayvon Walker. Does he develop a game plan in his pass rush moves? And I don't think you can expect him to have that in his bag immediately to start his career.
And finally, Tony Boselli elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame this Saturday, the enshrinement ceremony for the class of 2022. Boselli, of course, is ready for the moment and the many events that come with it.
2 big events, one tonight, one tomorrow, that are just for Hall of Famers. They have the champagne, like some champagne toast in the bus room, just Hall of Famers, and then the Ray Nitschke luncheon tomorrow that nobody's allowed in the room unless you have a gold jacket. Like, those are experiences that you can't replicate. Like, you just don't get to do. And
yeah, it's going to be a fantastic weekend, of course. Some events we can go to, some we can't, as you heard him say there. But it's been a long off season of, building up to these 3 days ahead for Big Bo.
Look, Tony's carrying Jacksonville sports fandom on his shoulders this week, and it really is, right? I mean, the fans have been there since day one, and one thing we talked about on our shows today is that, Tony has been a part of Jacksonville basically the entire time since he was drafted here. He's not a guy who disappeared, came back 15 years later to collect his gold jacket and tip his cap. He's a part of the fabric of the community, the organization. He's, going into the Hall of Fame. It's tremendous honor for the Jaguars, for Jaguar fandom. Tip of the cap to Leroy Butler as well as a Jacksonville guy. But, Tony playing for this organization carries the weight of every Jaguar fan who's been waiting for things to turn back around again, to have this moment that we can all feel good about ourselves and the team and the organization in Tony's career.
It hit me yesterday. We landed in Cleveland, took about a 45-minute, well, depending on how fast we were driving, drive down to Canton here. And once you get on the interstate just north of Canton, there's I think a pedestrian walkway over the interstate, and it's got the Pro Football Hall of Fame logo and caricatures of players, and it says Stark County, home of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I don't know why that was the moment it hit me, that we're actually in Canton and doing this. And then, of course, today, getting an opportunity to go through the Hall of Fame and see that and all the Baselli exhibits that are in there already. There's the platform where his bust will sit after it's presented on Saturday. It's just really an incredible scene here at the Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. You should make it out at some point. If you're a football fan, come up here and see this for yourself. Ashlyn Sullivan joining us now.
Hello.
Good afternoon, Ashlyn. What's happening with you?
A lot. Gosh, it's been busy here. I will say the elevator broke in this stadium.
You were down on the field.
And it's a really bad day for the elevator to break here.
This is like the biggest day of the year for them at this place. Yeah, it makes sense. So, well, you made it up.
I made it.
That's a good thing. We were just talking a little bit about, obviously, the Hall of Fame. You were in there today shooting some television, right? What was your first impression?
I thought it was really cool, and I didn't know this until we got in there. We shot an interview in front of Tony Baselli's locker, and I always just thought, they stage it to make it look nice. And I thought it was really interesting that Tony is the one who decides everything that goes in his locker, and they really leave it up to the player to design it the way they want it. So at the very forefront of the locker is a inaugural team football with the signature of every single teammate of the 95 season. And I love that. I think that just speaks so much volumes of Tony for that to be the one item you want to highlight in your locker.
We were down in Centennial Plaza today, and they have these monuments up there celebrating the centennial of the NFL. And on them, they have the rosters of all the players who played in this game. And Tony is listed as Don Bosco A. Baselli Jr. on there, right? So, it just goes to show you, right? He hadn't made a mark. He was a high draft pick. He had done nothing in the National Football League the first time the Jaguars came here. Ashlyn, for you weren't here at that point in time covering the team, but in your time, do you feel like, we all want to be optimistic every offseason, but is this an offseason that you feel like we've had more reason to be than others recent?
Absolutely. And I understand the fans when we say that. It's like, great, we've heard that before, the optimism. So I've really tried to almost tone back on that, because you don't want to sound like a broken record every single year. Like, it's going to be better. We have to see that it's going to be better. I just have such a breath of fresh air with Coach Peterson, and it's almost the been there, done that attitude with him, and not in an arrogant way. It's just the caliber of a coach and the resume that, when you speak to him, the Super Bowl winning head coach. It's just a guy that gets this, and no matter what you throw at him, he's going to know how to handle it. And with that just comes a lot of confidence with him.
Speaking of, you'll have an opportunity most game days to visit with Doug Peterson a couple hours before the game, and I'm sure there's a lot on the plate today to see from his football team.
There is. Yes, he mentioned, the biggest question of all was, of course, of who's going to play this week. So let's hear from him.
Defensively, our starters will probably go a series, maybe two in the first quarter. I've elected to keep a lot of the offensive guys out of this football game, other than Luke Fortner and Walker Little, obviously potential starters on offense. And, I want to see a lot of the young guys in this game, and really that's what this game is about, right? We've got to see the development and the growth of some of our young players, and so everybody will get a chance to, that dresses in uniform, will get a chance to play tonight, and this is a great opportunity, Hall of Fame weekend, and a chance to really showcase, who we are.
Yeah, and you said earlier this week for draft picks, you really believe, hey, get them in there and let's play. So for someone like Trayvon Walker, Have you seen enough of him in practice to know, or do you need a game like this to see how he progresses?
I want him to go against, good competition, against starting tackles in the NFL. I know what he's done in practice against our starting tackles, and I want to see him go against another football team, and it's just another step in his growth and his development, as an edge rusher. And he's got a long way to go. He's not there yet, and that's what I love about him is how hard he works in practice and really wants to be the best version of himself that he can be.
And so many people put a knock on this game, or really a knock on the preseason, saying, it doesn't matter, it doesn't count. I know the guys in this locker room, it counts. I know when you played in this game, it counted, and that's a unique experience that you know what these guys are going through. So what's your message to these guys tonight?
The fact that just come out here and have fun. It's the start of hopefully something special with not only with me but with this team, and there's a newness around it, there's an excitement around it, and just want them to enjoy this moment. This is a great opportunity for them. Had a chance to visit the Hall of Fame yesterday with the players and the team, and just for them to kind of feel the history of our league and sort of the pageantry of our league, and again, soak it all in, take it in. This is once in a lifetime opportunity.
Doug Peterson, as you referenced there, Ashlyn, played in the 2003 version of this game. It was called due to lightning in the third quarter. He only got 2 drives in the game and never had been back to the Hall of Fame.
Right. So funny. And I didn't know that was a thing where lightning happens and that's it. We all go home. Could you imagine? Make all this big hoopla over the game. Never mind. Get the bus going. We're going.
Right. Well, at least it's cleared off today. The sun is out and the rain, it seems, is gone now. Ashlyn, if you missed that interview, where can you find it?
You can see it right now on Jaguars social media. It'll be up on Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube. And it's funny, it's posted on Twitter right now. And everyone is reading into that he called Walker Little a projected starter. He's one of the only 2 projected starters on offense playing. And now everyone's saying, oh, there's your left tackle.
Well, there you have it. We'll hear from you each week here on the Publix Tailgate Show, Ashlyn. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Ashlyn Sullivan with us. In just a little bit, we'll have the inactives, the players officially down who will not dress for tonight's game. We're about 20 minutes away from pregame huddle up with NFL Network analyst and Jaguars radio field reporter Bucky Brooks. But up next,
you saw a guy that ran from sideline to sideline, full speed, making plays, this side, that side. You can tell he's extremely smart, setting up the defense, letting everybody know where they're supposed to be at.
That's Jaguars inside linebackers coach Tony Gilbert on the Foyer Lewis edition in free agency and much more. The Jags and the Raiders at 8 o'clock in the Hall of Fame game. And from Canton, Ohio, this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Move day is on the 20, the 10. Yes, another successful move to a new home. I tell you, folks, I've never seen a team more prepared than the Move Day crew. With a dominating lead in training, trust, and moving efficiency, it's no wonder why Move Day is the official moving company of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Track your goods online and get updated play-by-plays throughout your move process. While the Jags are moving the chains on game day, they're here to help you on moving day. Call 844-MY-MOVE-DAY or visit MoveDayMovers.com.
Jags fans, Shaquille Griffin of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I know you love when we put the QB in his place with a big interception, and now Luray Boyd Peanut Company is making every pick a winning play with the Peanut Pickoff. Every time the Jaguars make a pick, Luray Peanuts is going to donate to youth football initiatives throughout the Southeast, and the Jaguars Foundation will match every dollar. We get one play closer to victory, and our kids get to train for a brighter future. Everyone wins, except for the other team's QB. But hey, that's his problem.
When you show your home love with a natural gas water heater, it loves you right back with more cost-efficient, endless hot water.
Hon, hurry it up, please.
And right now, you'll love earning a cash rebate up to $700 when you install an energy-efficient natural gas water heater.
We're going to be late. Again.
What? Did you say something, hon?
To learn more and how to qualify, visit peoplesgas.com/rebates.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
At most sandwich places, asking for more of something is just part of the drill. But what if you never had to ask for more? What if more was just a given? At Daly's, more is what our sandwiches are built on. More meat, more cheese, more veggies, more quality, more taste. All for a price that's anything but more. Sandwiches from Dash, made fresh. Daly's.
From Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton, Ohio, this is the Publix Tailgate Show. We're inside 2 hours from kickoff of the Hall of Fame game for 2022. The Jacksonville Jaguars and the Las Vegas Raiders kick off the NFL preseason at 10 minutes after 8 o'clock officially. If you're looking for the MVP of the truck game, then look no further than Ford F-150. Loaded with impressive capabilities and designed to dominate work, play, and everything in between, this truck makes tough look easy. Your local Ford dealer, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. JP Shadrick with Mike Dempsey as the fans are starting to file into Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. Around 23,000 seats here. This was built just a few years ago. Fawcett Field was the old high school stadium on this site for years and years. And Mr. Benson, the late owner of the New Orleans Saints, donated a bunch of money, and they built this fantastic facility. This is obviously a banner day each calendar year for the Hall of Fame.
No doubt. For the area, although it's interesting, speaking to some locals, they say this is the time you get out of town and take a vacation. All the crazies come in, but I think, yes, for the Hall of Fame to elevate and to have the living legends all congregate and, for Tony Baselli now to have some of these private, personal moments with some of these Hall of Fame only events that are taking place this week. It's going to be great just to kind of live it through his eyes, I think.
Well, you heard earlier from Chad Muma here on the Publix Tailgate Show. Time now to hear from his coach, inside linebackers coach Tony Gilbert. And how about the players he has to work with all of a sudden after this draft and free agency?
Let me tell you, we've done so many of these kind of questions on our local show, Jaguars Today, that everyone, of course, is excited about Trevor Lawrence. But the group as a whole that everyone else is excited about is the linebacking group, with Josh Allen as one of your best returning players, your number one overall pick in Trayvon Walker. You get the league's leading tackler, Foyer Lewis. You get another first-round pick who couldn't be happier to be here in Devin Lloyd. And then it looks like you've got some quality depth options there as well. So the names are there. Now they got to go out and perform.
He's fired up about that room, especially the additions of Lloyd and Muma.
First off, I'm extremely excited about both of those guys. Those guys are extremely smart. When you look at them, they're extremely athletic, long, and I make sure before I leave here at night, I'm fully studied up because they ask a lot of questions, so I want to give them a wealth of information so they can come out here and play fast and use the athletic ability and play fast.
Lloyd, let's start with him, has not practiced full yet because of the hamstring injury. How much does he have to make up missing a week of camp?
He has some, but he's been great. When he got drafted, and I don't know if people told you the story, when he came in, he came and found me in the locker room to go over film because we were doing it virtually then. He got up to speed and was making plays in OTAs and then, had a bit of a setback. But he's been great in the meeting rooms. For us, we just want him to come back gradually. So when he come back, he got to be ready to go.
Well, let me tell you a story because I had heard that. I was in Vegas when they drafted him and heard him coming down the hall yelling, Duval. Yeah. The Pac-12 guys who were there said, you're going to love this guy. He works hard and coaches his teammates. Have you seen that from a rookie? That's asking a lot at this level, isn't it?
Yeah, he does. But we also have Foyer Lewis, who's been great for him. So he doesn't necessarily have to lead right now because we got a leader. So I think it's going to be an easy adjustment for him.
I want to come back to Foyer, but let's shift to Muma, who's a guy that I watched play a little bit when he was at Wyoming, and he is every bit as big as Devin Lloyd. Big, strong guy. What do you see his strength being, And what kind of a role can a rookie linebacker play?
He's extremely smart, extremely physical, has a great body movements. People think he's not fast. He's actually fast. He has great coverage ability, and he's shown us that he can be extremely flexible playing both positions.
Now, you mentioned Foyer Lewis, who flew under the radar of most football fans in Atlanta, played at Yale, so it wasn't a guy they watched on Saturday afternoons, but led the league in tackles the last couple of years. What did you see on tape that made you sign on to him when they started talking about Aluakon?
You saw a guy that ran from sideline to sideline, full speed, making plays, this side, that side. You can tell he's extremely smart, setting up the defense, letting everybody know where they're supposed to be at. So, again, that's another guy that I know I have to be ready to coach him so he can get out on the field and play fast because he always has a lot of questions.
You know, when you came in, you had to earn your spot on the field and on special teams. Do you have some guys that are competing for jobs via special teams?
Yeah, we got Shaquille on quarterman, of course, solid guy, Tyrell Adams, Deuce Russell, and then Grant Morgan. Those guys are competing on defense, also competing on special teams. So we got a very, very competitive group of guys.
The last time the Jaguars played in the Hall of Fame game back in 1995, we went to Stevens Point, Wisconsin for training camp, and we went on July 6th and had 3.5 weeks. You're playing with 8 days on the practice field. Is that enough? Is it the right amount, or is it just what you have to deal with?
I think it's just what you have to deal with. And we're excited. These guys, you know, they've been banging against each other. They're going to get the opportunity to compete against another team, another jersey. So we're just extremely excited, and we want to see these guys go out and compete.
Final thought. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about the Georgia Bulldog flavor this defense has up front and behind, right? Trayvon Walker comes in. I'm sure you're excited about him. And what we've seen from Tyson Campbell through a week of camp, I mean, the kid looks completely different than he was. They've built something at Georgia, and you got two kids that look like they're going to be special players.
Yeah, we always talked about, and we take pride in us Georgia guys, you know. We are extremely excited for one that we won the national championship, but we always prided ourselves in, you know, we come into the league and setting ourselves apart and making a path for us. So it's exciting to see these guys here, and I let everybody know about it that I'm a Georgia dog. So
that is Tony Gilbert, Jaguars inside linebackers coach's third year with the organization. Hey, Jacksonville, when the Jaguars come roaring back to the bank, will you be there? With our new bundle at the bank, you can purchase tickets to 3 or more games of your choice starting at $46 per game. You'll get access to Jaguars and Daly's Place pre-sales, discounts on single-game tickets, a dedicated account representative, and more bundle-exclusive perks. Lock in your seats at jaguars.com/bundle or call 904-633-2000. We're about 15 minutes away from Mike Dempsey's fantasy forecast. Yeah, in the preseason.
Yeah.
Get ready for that. Up next, we'll have players out for tonight's game and a pregame huddle-up with Bucky Brooks. We're about an hour and a half away from kickoff for the Jaguars and the Raiders in the Hall of Fame game. And from Canton, Ohio, this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
When it comes to water, choose our team, the winning team. Choose CGC Water Treatment. CGC Water Treatment works, and it works for DG too, former Jags QB, David Garrard.
If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Discover the Kinetico difference.
Call CGC Water Treatment at 844-CGC-JAGS or visit cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars and your local independent Kinetico dealers.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bono's is currently expanding its brand with franchise opportunities throughout the Southeast and beyond. Over 70 years of authentic Southern pit barbecue and owning your own business are a great combo. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Storm season is here, and JEA is doing everything possible to prepare. We've invested millions in hardening our electric, water, and sewer systems to make them more resistant to extreme weather. By updating your contact information and signing up for alerts, you'll also be better prepared if a storm hits. And in the event we need to restore your power, we can keep you up to date on our efforts and get you back to normal sooner. Update your contact info today at JEA.com. JEA, building a more prepared community.
Jags fans, this is Shaquille Griffin. I'm going to share some of my secrets for competing in the NFL. First, the field is no place for hunger. Growing up, I got big and strong eating boiled peanuts. Today, our team is serious about fueling our bodies, and that means popping open some protein-packed peanuts from Luray's Peanuts. It's the same boiled peanut flavor I used to love eating as a kid, but with superfood nutrition that lets me tear it up on the field. Pick Luray's boiled peanuts at all Jaguar home games, or pick up a few bags at the grocery store and fuel up at home.
Reconnect with the best version of you at Amara Med Spa, Northeast Florida's premier luxury medical spa, located in Ponte Vedra, Town Center, Avondale, St. Augustine, and Fernandina. With the most advanced injectors, estheticians, and technology, Amara Med Spa is redefining beauty, offering services such as Botox and filler, M-Sculpt Neo, painless laser hair removal, and advanced skincare treatments. Visit theamaramedspa.com and book a complimentary consultation today.
Jaguars Game Day Radio is brought to you by ViStar Credit Union. Do good, bank better. JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey from Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton, Ohio. Tonight, the opening of the NFL preseason, the Hall of Fame game. The Jacksonville Jaguars and the Las Vegas Raiders. And we welcome in NFL Network analyst and new Jaguars radio field analyst Bucky Brooks here in the booth for a pregame huddle up. Good afternoon and welcome back.
What's up, my guys?
How are you?
It's so weird being in person with you guys as opposed to like doing the little Skype thing and seeing it. Like the energy is different. I'm missing my guy Sakib calling in, but like maybe we'll get that like after.
That'll come later.
Yes.
By the way, I didn't realize we're standing for this segment, so
Oh,
I'll
sit
join.
down.
Oh no! I have to stand up for the energy because if I sit down,
That's
the
what I'm
energy-
saying. You're
the
bringing the
energy is
different energy.
Yeah, it's a different energy.
The nice thing is when we go to you here, we hear you. Right? It works out.
Good
So,
point.
the technology is working
Excellent.
well. New era.
Yes, it is. The Jaguars, some of them are out on the field. There's a number of players. We've got the official inactives in about 8 minutes. At 7 minutes now, they're due. But there are some starting frontline, top of the depth chart players out here getting some pregame work in, Bucky.
Yeah, so what you see immediately is Trevor Lawrence is working with the first crew of wide receivers. Mike McCoy is down there. Looks like he has a little script in his hand. And they're going through a very regimented workout where they're wanting to get some specific things done, different routes and combinations, trying to get the rhythm right between quarterback and pass catcher. And what I really like about it is, in watching this, you see Trevor taking a leadership role in terms of telling the guys exactly where he would like them to be when he's getting ready to throw the rock.
So knowing we're not going to see most of the frontline guys on offense tonight, but we will see, according to Doug Peterson, the starters on defense, maybe as much as for a couple of series. Bucky, who are you really looking forward to putting an eyeball on tonight?
Well, it has to be Trayvon Walker because this is his debut, and it's the first opportunity that we on the outside will get a chance to see what the plan is for Trayvon Walker, how they're going to utilize him, what this defense looks like, because there was a lot of conversation about Trayvon Walker versus Aiden Hutchinson. Why would he be the pick over other guys when you looked at the pass rush stats? Well, now we get a chance to get a little glimpse on why he was the attractive option at number one as opposed to some other guys.
Bucky Brooks with us, Jaguars radio field analyst from the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. Yeah, Trayvon Walker's one. We haven't seen Devin Lloyd yet. You know, he's had the hamstring issue in camp. He hasn't been out there. Chad Muma should get some time tonight, though. He's been able to step in his role in training camp at least. I'm excited to see what he has to offer coming out of Wyoming.
Yeah, he's a really intriguing prospect, and I know there was a lot of excitement about Muma when he was coming. And the thing about Muma is he's a versatile player. He can come downhill and do the things you want to see him do against the run, but he's also a sideline-to-sideline playmaker who also has coverage skills. That is a big deal. That's a big deal to be able to find a linebacker who has that versatility and adaptability.
In terms of returning guys, I mean, I think we know who the top three wide receivers are projected to be with Jones, and Kirk. How big are the next 5 or so weeks here, Bucky, for Laviska Shenault trying to carve himself out a particular role with this team?
It's huge. It's the biggest time that he will have in his Jaguars career in terms of being able to look with a new set of coaches to make them feel like he can offer something to the table. I was talking to James Lofton, Hall of Famer, who's also on the radio broadcast, and he was asking me about Laviska. And, hey, you don't think he can do some of that Debo Samuel type stuff that he did at Colorado? I was like, in theory, yes, but we have to see it play out on the field. He has to give the coaches a reason to add some extra columns on the play sheet to give him the ball and let him do what he's able to do on the perimeter.
They've done a little of that with him here, but, it's just been a little inconsistent in his play when he tries to go execute.
Yeah, it has been inconsistent, but he is, he's a dynamic athlete. He has the body to be able to do some of the things. The new thing in vogue is everyone wants a Debo Samuel type playmaker. So I'm sure they would give him an opportunity, but he is going to have to cash in on those opportunities to be a guy that gets the ball.
We heard Doug Peterson say in the pregame not long ago that Luke Fortner and Walker Little are potential starters. I think right now Luke Fortner is the clear leader as the starter at center, and Walker Little trying to take advantage of Juwan Taylor's downtime. How confident are you when you got a guy like Brandon Sheriff in the middle, and even Tyler Shatley on the other side of Fortner, that they've got the right mix of experience and youth?
Well, I'm good with Fortner. I think Fortner is going to be outstanding playing the pivot. High IQ guy who's tough and nasty. I think he fixed the new composition of what this offensive line can be. The big question to me is right tackle. Is it Walker Little? Is it Juwan Taylor? Which one of these guys is going to be the guy that is playing beside Sheriff? You would like to think that maybe Walker Little is going to be able to make some progress towards stealing that job, but he's going to have to play well. So these preseason games are really important for him in terms of trying to establish himself as a every down starter.
Juwan Taylor's been out at least the last 3-4 days with hamstring issues, so he has not been available. In the padded practices, he has not been available yet. Walker Little's been the guy at right tackle so far.
Yeah, look, more opportunities to kind of solidify himself as a starter, because what happens is the offensive line is so much about chemistry and continuity. If you have a young guy that's playing well, you're reluctant to kind of mess with the pieces. And so these games over the next few weeks are really important for him to kind of put himself in a position where they don't want to mess with the chemistry because he is playing so well, and you worry about what it looked like when he's not part of that front five.
Bucky Brooks with us, Jaguars radio field analyst, NFL Network analyst as well. He knows everybody in the building. We've seen you out there working the room.
I mean, trying to.
It's what it is.
Trying to.
Okay, I want you to dig deep now, because in the second half of this game, the Jaguars and the Raiders, I'm guessing, will both be digging deep on their roster, on their depth chart. Give me a couple of guys maybe under the radar to watch tonight if you're a Jaguar.
Well, I want to see the running back. I want to see what he looked like. I want to see if he gets an opportunity to do something with the ball in his hand. For years, Doug Peterson has always done a really good job of using a running back committee situation. Can Connor kind of carve out a lane for himself? And then on defense, man, we already talked about Chad Moom. I'm really excited to see him. But I think a guy who this game is really big for the next 2 weeks, K'Lavon Chaisson. I want to see. Look, the former first-round pick is kind of forgotten when we have these conversations about how this defense can look. What does he do? Does he kind of tantalize and tease the coaches with some potential where maybe they can give him a role? He is someone that this is kind of a make or break 2 or 3 weeks for him to see what he's able to do for the Jaguars going forward.
We know we won't see Travis Etienne tonight, but other than Trevor Lawrence, the way things are shaping up, is there a more important player on the offensive side for this team this year?
You look, I'm really excited about Travis Etienne because we've seen the flashes in training camp practices. We've also heard a little bit of his role and how maybe they can envision him being an Alvin Kamara-like playmaker on the perimeter, meaning a guy that can do it in the run game, but also on the perimeter, catching the ball out the backfield. We want to see it. If he can stay healthy, he certainly is a bonus addition to this offense because they didn't have him last year. Now with the other pieces that you brought in with Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, Zay Jones, you add Travis Etienne into the mix. It's a completely new offense, and it should lead to more points and better play from the quarterback.
All right, Bucky, give us an idea of the sideline roll. How is this thing going to sound tonight? Your first time on the sidelines with the Jags.
Well, we're a little nervous. Got a little butterflies going on, you know what I'm saying? Got the rubber legs. Hopefully I can get those out of my system before the ball is kicked off. But I just want to have a lot of fun seeing what's going on, being able to hear some of the side conversation behind the bench, and maybe I'll be able to disclose couple of like what's going on. Just a little insight.
That's why we have you down there to do such things.
Just a little insight.
We're looking forward to that, and we'll have you for Jaguars postgame on the network. No Fred Taylor tonight. He'll be with us a little later in the preseason and regular season. But, Buck, you're going to jump in a little early with us tonight. I know you have an early flight tomorrow. We appreciate your time here tonight. We'll look forward to hearing you throughout the game.
Come on, man. It's going to be fun, man. Let's go Jaguars.
Let's go.
Bucky Brooks, Jaguars field analyst, joining us. We are right about time now for the inactives. No true inactives tonight. There will be a not dressing list officially announced, but nothing has come down officially from the Jaguars as of yet. But you heard Doug Peterson a little bit earlier, Mike, talking about, hey, these defensive players, a lot of those guys will be out there. You know, the veteran offensive linemen will not go. I mean, why play Tyler Shatley or Brandon Sheriff? There's no need. Cam Robinson, for that matter, most likely won't play in this game, but there are some battles on both sides of the ball, certainly in the trenches, and you need to see some of the frontline guys to get some action tonight.
Well, sure. And Doug Peterson basically said his starting defense is going to play maybe a series, maybe a couple. And I think, look, Fortner and Walker Little haven't really proved much at the NFL level, so get their feet wet and see what they got.
All right, get your pencils and scorecards ready, Mike. Here are the following players that will not play in tonight's game officially from the Jaguars. Travis Etienne Jr. is down. C.J. Beathard, whose grandfather is in the Hall of Fame, by the way. He saw his bust yesterday on the team tour. Beathard is out. Zay Jones, wide receiver, will not play. Laviska Shenault Jr., wide receiver, is down for the game tonight, will not play. Marvin Jones is not going to dress. Christian Kirk will not dress. Trevor Lawrence, no chance he touches the field. He's out tonight. Evan Ingram. And then on defense, Darius Williams has not practiced yet in training camp. He's out tonight. James Robinson still trying to come back from the Achilles issue. He's out. Devin Lloyd has a hamstring issue. He's out. Jamal Agnew working his way back to full health. He won't play. Outside linebacker Josh Allen. Foyer Lewis is out tonight. Brandon Sheriff, Tyler Shatley, Cam Robinson, Jawan Taylor on the offensive line are all out. Tight end Chris Manhertz, defensive tackle Malcolm Brown, and Foley Fadukasi, the defensive lineman. Those are the players officially out for tonight's game. Of course, you can check out the weekly Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks on Wednesday, 4 o'clock on Jaguars.com and the official Jaguars social channels, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Well, we're inside 20 minutes away from Jaguars Radio Network coverage. Countdown to kickoff at 7 o'clock. We'll hear from Tony Baselli on the ground in Canton from earlier today. When we return, though, a fantasy forecast in the preseason from Mike Dempsey. That's coming up. Frank Franzi joins us in the booth as well. The Jaguars and the Raiders kick it off at 8 o'clock in the Hall of Fame game. And from Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton, Ohio, this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
With the first pick in the 2022 draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Duck Duck Rooter, the best plumbing and septic company in Florida.
Congratulations, Duck Duck Rooter. So tell us, how does it feel to be picked number one?
Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services is excited to announce we're a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When you need help tackling any type of plumbing or septic issue, call our team of first-round draft picks for the win. DuckDuckRooter.com. That's DuckDuckRooter.com.
At most sandwich places, asking for more of something is just part of the drill. But what if you never had to ask for more? What if more was just a given? At Daly's, more is what our sandwiches are built on. More meat, more cheese, more veggies, more quality, more taste. All for a price that's anything but more. Sandwiches from Dash, made fresh. Daly's.
Want to make sure he gets to the game on time?
Tommy, your uniform is ready. Let's go.
Install a natural gas dryer, and you're guaranteed faster drying times and softer laundry. And now you can earn a valuable cash rebate up to $200 on an energy-efficient natural gas dryer. Show your home love with natural gas, and it loves you right back. To learn more and how to qualify, visit peoplesgas.com/rebates.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bono's is currently expanding its brand with franchise opportunities throughout the Southeast and beyond. Over 70 years of authentic Southern pit barbecue and owning your own business are a great combo. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
Show Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Continuing the Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton, Ohio, at a 2022 Hall of Fame game. Las Vegas Raiders and the Jacksonville Jaguars kick off the preseason officially 10 minutes after 8 o'clock. JP Shadrick with Mike Dempsey, and time now for a fantasy forecast with you, Mike. A handful of guys in tonight's game maybe to stand out. Is there preseason fantasy first?
There's every kind of fantasy. Honestly, it's crazy. Honestly, what happens now is you get a lot of sites that allow you to weigh in on a total, over under projected yards. I stay away from it, JP. I mean, like if you would ask me this morning, I would have said the guy to keep an eye on is Laviska Shenault, right? And now he's not active tonight, which is probably a good sign for him based on how they feel about his role shaping up with this team. But couple of guys, one from each team that I'll have my eye on tonight. Then I want to talk to you a little bit about where the Jaguar players are going off in recent fantasy drafts. But on the Jaguar side, everybody wants to see Snoop Conner here because Snoop Conner could have a significant role for this football team, touching the ball a good bit early in the season, depending on when James Robinson is available. If the quote-unquote James Robinson role transfers to him, he may be startable in 12-team fantasy leagues as a flex option. He's run well. He's had a good camp. He's going to get an opportunity tonight to act as the quote-unquote starter, so we'll have our eyes on Snoop Conner. And on the Raiders side of things, Josh Jacobs going into the final year of his rookie deal. They did not pick up his fifth-year option. Zamir White, the rookie, comes in from Georgia, and he should get some run in this football game tonight. And Josh McDaniels up in New England often ran kind of a committee approach with the running back, so it kind of could be frustrating, but there's always going to be one lead guy in that committee, and Zamir White has a chance. Not so much this year, unless injuries pop up, but looking ahead to next year to be that guy for the Las Vegas Raiders. So we get a first glimpse of him in a professional setting tonight. Now, I've been drafting because I'm that guy, JP, since March, okay? And I have truly maybe 90 fantasy drafts under my belt already this offseason. So I have a pretty good sense of where the Jaguar players are coming off. But just to be sure, I wrote down some notes today, and this is from the National Fantasy Football Championships average draft position rankings, or we call them ADP. CTN, right? All the camp buzz has elevated him from an early offseason 5th-round pick up to the 4th round to now where he's going in the middle of round 3 as the 29th pick overall in 12-team leagues. People are comparing him to Alvin Kamara, DeAndre Swift in terms of the type of role they expect him to have for the Jags this year. And unless we get further clarity on James Robinson, I don't expect the hype train to slow down anytime soon. The guy I've been drafting the most of from any team this offseason is Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk, for the longest time, was a middle-of-the-9th round pick, which is just laughable. When you look at the numbers he put up last year on 103 targets in Arizona, I think that number gets up to 125, 130 this year as the primary option in the Jaguars' passing game. He's risen from a middle-of-the-9th round pick to the first pick of round 8, where I think he's still a value. I'll even take a few shots on Kirk on my fantasy than any player this offseason. Elsewhere, James Robinson himself, maybe a little rich for my blood in the 11th round. You're hopefully rostering him, thinking about what he could do for you in the second half of the year. I might avoid drafting him, wait for a frustrated owner to drop him to the waiver wire to look to pick him up. Trevor Lawrence going off in the 13th round in 12-team leagues right now. I think he's got a lot of upside. If these pass catchers come into fruition and do what they're capable of doing, and Trevor uses his legs more than he did rookie season, he could add some fantasy value to your roster. And the final guy is Evan Ingram that I've got my eye on here. I've got a lot of shares of Evan Ingram as well. Going off in the 16th round. He's basically free if you want him. I think he's going to have a big role in this passing game. He might not be a guy you'd want to start every single week, but if you're in a best ball league or any league where you're drafting more than one tight end, I want to get Evan Ingram on my roster. Right?
It's a one-year deal. Got to go prove it.
It's a prove-it deal in a Doug Peterson offense, which has always been friendly to the tight end position. You look back to the Super Bowl championship season, and Zach Ertz was the star of that offense. He was the only guy over 800 yards receiving, I believe. Now, I don't expect 800 yards receiving out of Evan Ingram, but I could see somewhere in that 7 to 8 touchdown range and somewhere in the 600 to 700 yard range. He's already shown he's capable of putting up those kind of numbers. I think he'll get the opportunity to do it again this year.
If you're a Jaguars fan on the go, we've got the ticket plan for you. The bundle at the bank is designed to fit your schedule and save you money by creating your own custom plan. From celebrating Tony Vaselli's Hall of Fame enshrinement October 9th to cheering the Jaguars on against the Dallas Cowboys December 18th, you get the flexibility you want for your time at TIAA Bank Field this fall. Get your bundle at the bank at jaguars.com/bundle or call 904-633-2000. We welcome in Jaguars play-by-play announcer Frank Frangie for the Frangie File here in the broadcast booth in Canton, Ohio, a little over an hour away from kickoff of the 2022 NFL preseason is finally here.
It really is. And what an exciting weekend, JP. I mean, just the fact that Tony's going in so near and dear to us and how much it means to Jacksonville and our city and this franchise. And JP, I've been excited all week. Excited for him, excited for the fans. So many fans since we've been here since Wednesday. Got here early yesterday. So many fans around. So real exciting time. And yeah, oh, by the way, there's a football game tonight too. I can't wait.
There is a football game tonight, but, and we'll see, Frank, the defense play a couple of series perhaps tonight, as we heard Doug Peterson say earlier today, and a few key guys on offense. But overall, one of the themes JP and I have talked about tonight, and Brian Sexton as well, is that this is almost like a reset of the franchise. It feels that way coming back to this hallowed ground with Doug Peterson in as your new head coach, Trevor Lawrence going into his second year. I know we can't make it so just because it feels that way, but do you see the parallel?
Absolutely, I do. I think it's dead on, Mike. This thing started in this stadium, and this rebirth is going to be in this stadium. I think you're 100% correct. And I think we're starting at a better point, but yeah, I completely agree with that. And I think Doug Peterson is a pro. Tom Coughlin was a pro, I mean, even though he's coming from the world of college football. Yeah, I absolutely see that. And as far as the game goes tonight, yeah, there'll be a few guys play, but it's going to be a preseason of guys fighting for spots. I mean, Snoop Connor and Rock Armstead are fighting for that third running back spot. Walker Little and Juwan Taylor, when he's able to play, are going to fight for that spot. I think Ben Barch is still going to be able to fight Tyler Shatley for that spot. There's a lot of that going on. K'Lavon Chaison's probably going to fight for a spot on the roster, so I think there's a lot of guys who will factor in as early as tonight for whom this game is very important.
I think your point, Frank, about being a pro and Doug Peterson's approach to this locker room and to job competitions such as that. When the guy went through it, he played it. He started in the league in 1991. He's fully aware of how to approach a player in the right way, in the right manner, to get the most out of that guy and get a positive response in return.
And you could tell that from the jump, couldn't you, JP?
Yeah.
The minute he got to town, you could tell there was that balance of being tough enough that they understand the importance of their accountabilities, but treating them like adults and grown-ups. That's a tough balance. I mean, that's hard. And you get the impression, I haven't coached the game here yet, so we'll see, but you certainly get the impression that Doug is a guy that understands that balance. I 100% agree with you, and that seems to be what's emanating from their camp almost every day.
All eyes on Trayvon Walker, the first couple of series tonight, obviously, on defense. Frank, what are your expectations?
Yeah, I think tonight he'll run around a little bit, may make a play or two. I don't think he's going to play long enough to impact the game, but I think it's going to be fun to watch. I think people are going to be wowed, Mike, by how big, strong, long, and fast he is. We've heard so much about that. I think he's going to play in space a little bit for this football team, so you'll get to see that. So my expectations for tonight is a couple series. He may knock down a pass. He may make a play. But my expectations for him moving forward are very good. I've watched him. We all have been at every camp practice. I think there's something special there. Now, there should be. He's the first overall pick, right? But I have a real good feeling about what I think they've gotten in Trayvon Walker.
Starting secondary is going tonight too, Frank.
Yeah, they're going to go for a while. He's going to play. Everybody, Darius Williams, who we think will probably be the nickel back, won't be able to play. Trey Herndon will play that spot. But you're right, JP. All five of those guys, and I'm counting Trey Herndon in there, will go for a while. But again, I don't expect a series or two. But I thought that was interesting. Roy Robertson Harris is going tonight too. I thought that was interesting that some of the veterans, the secondary and Roy, are playing in this game tonight. I thought maybe they'd all be. I don't think Aluakon or Fatakasi, because he's been hurt, are going to play. But I'm surprised a little bit. It'll be fun to see him play.
What's the best position group on this team, Frank?
Ooh, best position group on the team. Great question. Might be the linebackers. I think Aluakon's really good. They love Chad Moom. I can't wait to see Devin Lloyd. I think Trayvon Walker is going to be special. Josh Allen is special. I think if I can group all the linebackers together, Mike, inside and outside, I'd say probably the linebackers are the best part of the team. I'm glad you asked me that, because I was thinking about it as you were talking about it. I love that group. I really do.
All right, Frank, stand by. Don't go anywhere. You're going to kick off network coverage when we return. It's Jaguars Radio Network coverage with Countdown to Kickoff. We'll have an exclusive conversation with Hall of Fame left tackle Tony Baselli this morning here in Canton ahead of the Hall of Fame game. We'll hear from Pride of the Jaguars running back Brett Taylor. And the final word before kickoff with Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson. The Jags and the Raiders in the Hall of Fame game coming up in just over an hour. And from Canton, Ohio, thanks for listening to the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
With the first pick in the 2022 draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Duck Duck Rooter, the best plumbing and septic company in Florida.
Congratulations, Duck Duck Rooter. So tell us, how does it feel to be picked number one?
Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services is excited to announce we're a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When you need help tackling any type of plumbing or septic issue, call our team of first-round draft picks for the win. DuckDuckRooter.com. That's DuckDuckRooter.com.
At most sandwich places, asking for more of something is just part of the drill. But what if you never had to ask for more? What if more was just a given? At Daly's, more is what our sandwiches are built on. More meat, more cheese, more veggies, more quality, more taste. All for a price that's anything but more. Sandwiches from Dash, made fresh. Daly's.
Since 1916, Duval Motor Company is here to keep you and your vehicle off the sidelines. Their all-star lineup of dealerships provides superior sales, maintenance, and repairs for every make and model, with Ford, Honda, Acura, Subaru, Chevrolet, and everything in between. At every Duval location across North Florida, Duval Motor Company always puts service first. In-store, online, or at your front door. Get service first with DuvalMotorCompany.com.
What makes that famous call
Dinner's ready!
even better? It's cooking a great meal with natural gas, enjoying faster cooking times and precise temperature control. And now getting a valuable cash rebate up to $300 when you install an energy-efficient natural gas range or cooktop.
Anyone want seconds?
When you show your home love with natural gas, it loves you right back. To learn more and how to qualify, visit peoplesgas.com/rebates.
The Dick's Wings and Grill family of restaurants is a proud sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars. They invite you to stop into one of their area neighborhood grills where you can count on fresh quality wings where you call the flavor. At Dick's Wings and Grill, their menu has a food and flavor for everyone in your group. If you prefer delivery or online ordering, just visit DicksWingsandGrill.com. Every Dick's Wings and Grill is locally owned and operated. Dick's Wings and Grill, winging it since 1994.
The Jaguars are future-focused. Welcome to Countdown to Kickoff. JP Shadrick and Mike Dempsey will get you ready for today's game. You'll hear from Frank Franchi, Jeff Lageman, Hall of Famer Tony Baselli, Fred Taylor, and the head coach of your Jacksonville Jaguars, Doug Peterson. Countdown to Kickoff is brought to you by Baptist Health. Fair